Recording in progress, Christina.
Recording in progress, Lisa. How
It's
are you
weird.
today?
Oh, you already know how I am. Everybody else doesn't need to know the sad, sad story of how exhausted Lisa is and how I've done this to myself. But
Hey, are we even living if we're not tired?
I mean, like I said to my dad and my mom and my sister in the group chat today, she sent the kids school pictures and she's like, "They're getting so old." And I said, "They're getting mature." And then my dad said, we're all getting old." And I said, "It's better than the alternative." So there we go.
Absolutely.
I'd
Isn't it?
rather be tired and living the life that I'm living than not be living.
Well, right.
Right?
Exactly.
Right.
Absolutely 100%. The alternative is not a good thing.
No, no. Honeys, guys, enough. Don't. So they start, of course, making their growling noises.
You can't
So,
hear it though. So whatever noise
oh,
canceling thing you've got going on, you can't really hear them.
fantastic. That's
It's
great.
like you guys couldn't hear my fire alarm going off.
I know that's
And it was
crazy.
loud.
I know that's really weird.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm gonna have to trust the noise cancellation and just ignore the growling behind me because
Yeah.
when I was listening to our scrap recap, I was like, all of a sudden I say, stop it," and I'm like,
But you
stop.
couldn't hear anything. So,
Could hear me saying
well,
stop it
exactly, but
to
not the
you guys,
pups.
apparently.
So you
Anyway,
wanted us to stop doing something?
don't stop, don't ever stop. Just keep keeping on.
Yeah.
Never
There you
stop,
go.
never stopping.
No, no.
So
Oh,
today we get
yes.
to talk to somebody that we missed speaking to last week. So I'm really excited that we get a chance to talk to him today.
I'm glad we were able to, or he was able to find some time in his hugely busy schedule to
Yes.
come and have a conversation with us today. And we're sad that it's this early on as
Yeah.
well.
Agreed.
So,
Agreed.
because
Yes.
I honestly thought we would see his beautiful baking in the finale.
Yeah, I know. I know.
So,
You
yeah,
had him pegged right from the beginning. You were like, yeah, that's one of the guys that I'm rooting for. So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I
I mean,
did
we're rooting for all of them. Like
for sure. It's
you're
so,
fairly evenly, but we had our early picks even before
yes,
things started. And you had looked at Marcus's Instagram and you were just like, you know what? This guy knows what he's doing and he's pretty spectacular. So,
yeah, a
yeah.
spectacular baker. And you're right, though. Any of the 10 bakers that were part of season 8 could have taken, could take the cake plate, right? Because we
Yeah.
don't know who that is yet. But
Have my suspicions, but
yeah, I have, again, I think, two of my top three are still there.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
at least one of them will be in the finale, minimally,
Yeah.
hoping both.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. I mean, it's hard not to root for anybody that's left in the tent. They're all
Yeah.
so incredibly talented, as were all of the 6 bakers that have left,
Hmm.
or I guess 5 bakers that have left
Yeah.
at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
At this point.
at this point. So speaking with our buddy Marcus today.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm sad. I was
I
really,
know.
really sad. And what a week to go as well, because there was so little room for any,
Error.
and I'm not even going to say error, just something that wasn't exactly
Yeah.
perfect,
Yeah.
right? Just for
Exactly.
something like the littlest of details sent him home,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm really looking forward to talking to him. So why don't we
Yes.
all welcome Marcus?
Welcome, Marcus.
Hi, Marcus.
Hey, Marcus.
Hey, Sashna, how are you?
Good.
I'm
How
doing
are
really well.
you?
So
Good.
happy to see you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy life to
Oh
come and
no,
join
thanks for
us.
having me.
Oh,
Yeah, we're really happy to have you. We're sad that we have to have you, but we're
this early on. Not that we're upset that you were having a conversation with you. We were just hoping it was going to be in a few weeks, not now.
Yeah, no, yeah, for us, I knew it was coming, and then I was listening to your podcast. Like one guy left. I was like, just wait till next week.
oh, yeah,
We were gutted.
we were.
It's always sad to see one of the bakers go home, especially this season, because every single last one of you has been so incredibly talented. beautiful human beings, wonderful personalities. It's been such a joy to watch this entire season. And every time somebody goes home, we're gutted, but we especially felt it for you.
Oh,
Because as you know, if you've listened to our podcast, you were one of our favorites going in. We honestly thought that we would have seen you in that finale
uh,
because your work is really
too
exceptional.
too kind. No, I think for me it was just had a little bit of bad luck, with the focaccia bread,
Mhm.
just a little bit burned. They're really nice about it, the judges. Like they've always been really nice about it, and
Yeah.
they could have said, "Oh, dark burn," but they're just like, "Oh, a little bit sunburned." I was like, "Oh, that's nice." I was prepared for it. And then with the pig, I was like, "Well, yeah, it was not that clean and stuff." So they're still nice about it at the end, but. Yeah, I mean, everyone was strong, right? So,
Yeah.
so I think everyone, like you said, everyone had a good bake that day, right?
Hmm.
So, they just gotta. It makes it hard the decision, but
It really does.
for me, it was. I guess I was the least best of the pack. Yeah.
Least best. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a better way to
Yeah,
put it. I mean, they
absolutely.
even said that. Kyla and Bruno said it on the show when they were discussing it. They were like, there's hardly anything that we can complain about,
Mhm.
basically, right?
Yeah.
Everybody did well. But yeah, unfortunately we had to lose you and that made us very, very sad.
Yeah.
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 And it really did come down to the smallest and teeniest of details,
Mm.
unfortunately. So,
Yeah. It was a week I was kind of nervous about because I'm before coming into competition, I've never I never really worked with like marzipan, so like it was something I had to learn in the competition. I think the first time was doing it for the princess cake, and then for Piggy, so that was the second time, and then another example would be like icing cookies. So before coming into competition, I never really did much icing. It's just never got to it, right? And then
mhm.
we had time to prep, so we kind of know. And then with the cookies, I was like, oh man, like I got practice with icing, and then learn how to flood and everything. It
Mhm.
looks easy on the YouTube video, but I'm like when I'm doing it, I'm like, the consistency of the icing and stuff like that.
Mm.
Yeah, and then had to do so much. I think for the second week, the cookie I had to do like 10 different colors, right? So
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, there's a lot of mixing.
That's what I
We're pretty-
find when you're doing sugar cookies and you want to do it all these different designs in royal icing. It's the mixing the colors takes
Yeah,
forever.
you
Mhm.
know. And
Yeah.
then using the plastic bags, I was like, oh, environmental killer.
Oh,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. So you're
Yeah.
feeling conflicted there. You're like, I can't do it. No, no.
No, but it's okay. It's the competition. Just gotta get through it.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
considering you hadn't really had a lot of experience doing the iced cookies, and you learned that as part of the, getting ready for being in that tent, that was quite an ambitious bake with that number of colors and the design that you decided to put together too. I mean, there was a lot of piping, there was a lot of detail, and they were all different because it was a number board, right? And
Yeah, I had to like for me, I had to write like I kind of wrote it all down. I was like, okay, I have to alternate colors, like do like 3 or 4 times. So I said which numbers are red, which numbers are orange. So I wrote it all down. I did. So then I didn't have to think about it, right?
Yeah.
But when I was practicing before, I made a mistake and then I messed up with the alternation. So then I had like say for example like 9 was supposed to be red, it's like an orange. So I was like, oh
Mm.
darn.
Yeah.
do you think they
Throws
would have
off the whole
noticed
game.
though? There were 30 numbers. Do you think they
Yeah.
would have noticed if there was a color that was off, or you could have just been
Uh,
deliberately all over the place with
I mean,
colors?
if they always if I said it, they probably would. But if I
Yeah.
didn't mention, and the cookie bar, I was lucky. It just happened to be 30. I wasn't 30 yet during the competition. I was still 29, but it just so happened to fit 30 squares. I was like, oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
luck of the draw.
That
close
totally
enough.
works. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hear that you were actually working the whole time that you were in the tent because it's
Yeah.
tax season.
Yeah. For me, it was like it's probably the worst time to be like prepare and be in a competition because it's like my busy time, right? So
Yeah.
so I was when I got the call, I was like, oh yeah, I got in, but then I was like, oh darn, like
Yeah.
what I have to tell my bosses this good that they might it might be a hard conversation, but they're very supportive throughout the whole thing. But of course, I said, okay, I'm gonna try to get as much done before I go.
Yeah.
And I tried but then it was probably one of the most stressful like 2 months before like of my work,
Yeah.
because I was working and then I was trying to practice like throughout the week, but I just could never get to it. I was just tired. And then on
Yeah.
Friday, I was like, okay, time to practice the showstopper. And on Friday, and then I practiced till like timing myself is like till 6:30 a.m.
Oh,
And then
Jesus.
and that's because I took like so long inefficiencies, like 6.5 hours for the showstopper, never within time. And then I was just like, okay, I practiced once, I'm going to try to practice again. Then the next week is a repeat. It's like, I don't have any time. And then coming into competition, I was like really scared. I was like, oh man, it
Yeah.
was never within the time limit, and I just don't know if I could do it and stuff, right? But then
Yeah.
because then I would also try to deduct the time. I was like, okay, I spent some time washing, I
Mm.
spent some time just standing there thinking. But then I was like, even if I'm being nice to myself, I'm still with past the 4 hours. So but I guess when you're the tent, there's no distractions, or it's just full concentration, right?
Mhm.
And you don't have to really do the washing. So
Yeah,
That's
you
that's a
seemed
nice.
to stay very calm and very focused, which is good because you must have been, your sleep debt must have been absolutely extraordinary because I don't know how
yeah,
you could manage
I
to do all
I
that.
I was working during the competition. Try not to work too much, but I was still like, I think if I accumulated all the work hours, I probably had like 5 days of worth of work, like 8 hour work days, like, spread over the whole competition. And then
Wow.
I was, I pretty much like the night before, it's an early call, I think it's like 6 a.m.,
Yeah.
5:30 a.m. So I would go to sleep at like 4:30 or something like that, because I still have to practice too a little bit, right?
Jeez.
And I was like, okay, 1 hour timer. It's like a timer I'm putting on because I'm afraid I'm going
Oh,
to sleep past it. So I had it like an hour and a half sleep, and then woke up, felt like I didn't get any sleep, but I just had to go, running on
oh
the
my goodness.
You
I
didn't
mean,
really get any sleep. I would,
yeah.
an hour and a half or 2 hours getting
It's
any sleep.
even more
That's crazy.
astounding that you did as
Yeah.
well as you did because
thank
it
you.
would have been so easy to just be like, no, I can't, I'm not doing
Yeah,
this. This
Yeah.
is too
because
much.
the bakers, they would be like, "So Marcus, how much sleep did you get?" It's like a thing, inside joke. I was like, "Oh, I got like however many hours," and then I was just I got to know the bakers really well during the competition. We're all together, but I was also closing my eyes, talking and closing my eyes, just getting a little bit of naps here and there.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
getting that little bit of shut eye when you get the opportunity to.
Absolutely.
And then during they do interviews and stuff, and then I think they gave me a chair to sit on, like while I'm waiting for everyone for other people. I'm just sitting there. I'm just like just
Oh,
napping. Yeah,
oh
Wherever you can
man.
get those
yeah,
extras.
wherever I could, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Just get the little bit of
Yeah,
shut eye whenever you get a chance to.
yeah. All they asked was just don't put my head against like the leaning against anything, or else they have to fix my hair a little bit again.
Oh, you can't ruin the hair that they've already put in place.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
that's awesome.
why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how you did you hear that or can you hear
Yeah,
that?
yeah, my background. Yeah.
Sorry, the dogs are
Oh
deciding
no.
to have a play fight. Guys, go play elsewhere. Let me ask that question again. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you got started in baking. What got you interested in it?
Yeah, so I've always liked desserts. I've always liked to eat desserts. I think I get it from my dad. He has a sweet tooth. And then one day I'm just like, oh, instead of just going out to eat, why don't I try making it, right? And then, so that was 4.5 years ago, I
That's
think.
awesome.
Uh, coming on to, oh, actually it's October now, so like coming into 5 years. Yeah, sorry, not 4.5, like coming into 5 years. So I decided to just start picking it up, and then and then it was it was just before COVID hit. So then sometimes people say, "Oh, you're a COVID baker." I'm like, no, no, no. I got into it, and then COVID just it just so happened to
Just a
let me
coincidence.
practice more, right,
Just
and stuff like that.
escalated the passion
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah. So, when I first started, my home, I'm with my family. The kitchen is pretty equipped and stuff for just a normal kitchen is good, right? But then we didn't have a lot of the baking stuff. So then, that's when Amazon came into hand, and then my investment in all the supplies and stuff just skyrocketed a little bit, and then just had to start finding. It got to a point I had to start finding places to put it, and then So then from there, I just when I first started baking, I kind of skipped all the cookies and like cupcakes and stuff. Actually, I've never made a cupcake before, so I don't know how to make a cupcake. So, so I could make a mistake if I tried to make a cupcake. But I started with um, French pastries, so tarts. So my first one was choux au croquant, so the cream puff. Then I moved on to tarts, and then from there I moved on to entremets, and then cookies came like 3 years later. That's when but I would So that's I kind of went all over the place. I was like, they always say you should learn to walk before you can run. I kind of ran before I could walk a little bit,
Yeah,
but
it sounds like it.
yeah, but I made, in the beginning, comparing a picture of my tarts from the beginning to now, very large difference, right? Like
I can
just
imagine.
the finesse and stuff like that. So it's been a journey. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally understand the whole Amazon not having enough room for equipment, all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. It's really easy to, especially if you're doing things like the French pastries that
Mhm.
sometimes will require the special equipment or special
Entremets.
Yeah, the
entremets, yeah, all
molds,
the
Yeah.
right?
molds.
I have so many molds, like a whole shelf of like different shapes.
Silicomarts and stuff. Silicomart.
Yes,
Oh, I
yeah,
love them. I love them so
expensive
much.
but worth the investment. So.
Yes.
Oh, they sure are. They sure are. So that's kind of great. Like that's kind of cool. And I love the fact that you were so ambitious from day one, learning all of the probably some of the more difficult techniques, being French pastries, right from the start. That's incredible. And then graduating or maybe taking, going to cookies.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Graduating to
Hey,
cookies.
Marcus, can I have some chocolate chip cookies? Actually, I don't know how to make those. Can I make you an entremet instead?
Well, I mean, cookies were actually kind of. I mean, my first batch. You think you start running and then you go down to the walking level that it's be a bit easier. But
Yeah.
even then, when
Yeah.
I started making cookies, my understanding, like I was like making it and I was like, how come it's still so soft? And then I kept going till it became, hard, like firm, but
Yeah.
without the knowledge, without the experience, knowing that cookies harden by itself over time when it
Right.
cools, right?
Yeah.
So then it became like like a hard, kind of pretty hard cookie, right? Which is okay. I still enjoy it, but
You're
it doesn't
dunking it.
matter if I can do other stuff. It's still something new, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how did you go from there to applying to Great Canadian Baking Show?
yeah. So my fiance, she saw on Instagram the Great Canadian Baking Show. So I've heard of it before, but I did you guys might not like it, but I didn't really watch too much of it. Sorry.
No,
Yeah.
it's
That's
all good.
okay.
Yeah,
We
it
don't take
doesn't take
offense
away
to
from
it.
your talent as a baker, whether you watch or don't watch Great Canadian Baking Show or
Yeah.
any baking show for
I
Yeah.
that
think it's
matter.
actually kind of sad how much we watch.
Oh, no,
Yeah,
no, no, not
we're
at
kind of
all.
sad and pathetic that way.
No, 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 not at all. Yeah, so my fiance, she said, "Oh, why don't you apply?" Right? So I was like, oh, "Okay." So then like you always like you think about it, and I got kind of lazy a little bit, and then a few days before, I'm like, "Okay, I'll do it," but I need to give those because my audition cake was like was an entremet, like a passion fruit mousse, a passion fruit coconut mousse. And then, but then, you need you need like a day for it to freeze for it to freeze and stuff. So I was like, okay, I better start on it, right? Or else I'm not going to be able to bring anything, right? So then it just was last 2 days that I made it, and then I think I was doing it, and I just didn't know what design to do it too, right? Because usually I said, okay, gotta make it a little bit fancier. So I did like a tempered chocolate ring to put on top, and then I put some semicircle entremets on top. Yeah. So actually, it's actually on my Instagram. It's let me see if I can find it. Yeah, it's this one. I don't know. Yeah, this one.
Oh, beautiful. Oh my
So,
goodness. That looks like it could be in a pastry shop somewhere in
oh,
France.
thank you. Yes.
In
Yes.
Paris.
Yeah, that was the one I brought, and then
That's beautiful. It looks
uh,
like Louise Lindbergh.
oh
Mhm.
yes, I follow her on Instagram. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
very good of all the designs and
Yes,
stuff like
she is.
that. So I want to try to, because I'm more like, she does a lot of layers and stuff. So I kind of want to try doing that. I'm usually just like 2 or 3 components. She's like 5 components sometimes. Yeah. So then
Beautiful.
I went to, I thought I went early. It was like 9 a.m. I think, right? So I was number 20 something, I
Oh,
think.
that's pretty good.
That. And then that's still 2 hours and stuff. And it's kind of funny because the audition, I was thinking something like American Idol, one person goes in, one person goes out. And then and then I didn't know that, like, I was like, how come people are going in at different times and like they're calling different names? I was like, oh, are some people like not good that they just kick them out right away and then on to the next person? Yeah. So, I didn't no experience with the auditioning, right? So then I go in, I was like, oh, okay, it's a bigger room. There's a lot of people, you kind of stand there a little bit, talk with everyone.
Mhm.
And then,
Yeah.
and then there was, because before I came, I watched a few episodes, right? And then for season 7, and then saw some people that I remember seeing on the show, right?
Yeah, Candace was there. That was,
Yeah,
And
we were
Lois.
both there too.
Owen was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
And then,
back, yeah, Bruno came later. Yeah, so then I mean, back then I was only kind of familiar with the names, but now I know better, right?
Yeah, exactly. Do you
Yeah.
now
remember
you know the
seeing us?
whole.
Do you remember seeing us there?
Well, I think on the podcast you said carousel. So were you
Yeah.
like number 1 or 2 or
I
something
was
like
the
that?
first
She
one.
was.
Yeah, I was the
Yeah.
first one to go in.
So then that kind of rung. I was like, oh yeah, I remember seeing a carousel prop, or was that edible?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was all
wow.
edible. Yeah, it was
Crazy, huh?
gingerbread. Yeah, white pepper
So I
gingerbread.
saw it from afar and I was like, whoa, that's
It
pretty.
was so ostentatious. I'm like, I don't need to make anything that big next time.
Oh, no,
It's really
like,
big.
oh man, that's
Go
fancy.
big or go.
Yeah.
Go big or go home.
I
Right?
did go home.
Well, but I think it was beautiful and it was delicious.
Thank
It
you.
was
The part that I tried.
it was cool, the audition. Like, I've never, because I'm I guess for me, I'm and a lot of people, I think they can say sometimes there's the baker in the group, but like I was like, oh, I should, like, it was interesting to go audition too, because you kind of see like people and what they bake, and like it's kind of interesting to see like what level people are at, how am I in my baking and stuff like that, right? Like, everyone says, oh, it tastes good, all family, friends and stuff, but you never know, right? Sometimes they just say that, and then maybe they're like, somewhere.
Usually family are pretty honest though. At the end of the day, family tends to be honest, especially if you have kids. They tend to be the most honest out of all of them.
Oh yes, they does. Yeah, and
They
then
don't mince words.
yeah, and then luckily for I remember going to the audition. Luckily for my mousse cake, it stood because it can resist the temperature. Like, and I was number 20 something, right? So then I was imagining there's at least, I think, like 90 people, if I was 90 to 100 people maybe.
There were so many people there that day. Yeah.
I remember sitting, like, after they tried my stuff, there was another girl that sat beside me, and she did like a triple chocolate mousse, and then I think the temperature was, I think it's temperature sensitive, right? And then it was starting to kind of melt a little bit. So I was like, oh man, like, I'm lucky mine doesn't really get affected by temperature, but imagine those ones that came a lot later, like, and then there's temperature sensitive. I don't know how it would have turned out for them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that is definitely a huge consideration, especially if you don't know how quickly you'll get in to actually see the culinary team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I guess, didn't expect anything, I just said, okay, I'll just try out. And then, just slowly got through, bake along. And then, afterwards, they're like, okay, yeah, we'll see you. We'll let you know, or maybe don't let you know. Right. And then, then they call you and then they're like, oh, you're 1 in 10. I was like, oh, dang, wow. Like I'm so honored, I'm not, sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm very excited, but I'm more calm sometimes, right? So I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I better put some more emotion into this, or they'll think I'm not thankful. I am thankful, but it's just I call myself a monotone guy,
Mm.
but
I remember like because we were starting to see more and more glimpses of your personality through the season, and I just loved that moment when Jen closed, I think it was Jen, closed the fridge and you were coming walking toward it with your tray and you just went donk and like
oh yeah,
bonked into it. And I was
yeah.
like, oh, okay, that's Marcus then.
Starting to get, when you get comfortable, because with there's people that are just like very vibrant to begin with, but for me, if it's around strangers, it takes me a while, to get
Yeah.
like get comfortable with people, right? Or I'll be kind of quiet. So by then I was starting to no, by then I was comfortable with everyone, right? So
Yeah.
then also a bit looser at the 10, just said, oh, just remember to have a little bit of fun too, right? So
Yeah.
and I,
Absolutely. Rule number one.
And did
yeah.
you have fun?
Oh yeah, it was really fun. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Like very amazing experience, right? Like you said, like you just didn't expect anything from it, and then everyone else has been baking for so long, like a very young age, and I just started getting to baking. Like I guess the 5 years is long, but just not as long. So it was just uh, nice to. Just I guess like for them to give me the opportunity,
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're really glad that we got to meet you and see your
yeah.
talent because
Mhm.
your bakes, man.
Oh,
And I think Christina spotted it before I did because she was just like, you know what, this guy is really good. I think he could go all the way.
yeah.
And
No,
and you proved it week after week with how beautiful, like
Oh,
all
thank
the
you.
beautiful things you brought out.
yeah.
Actually, I always thought, like, because I didn't get, like, for me, I think on Instagram, I post things. I've had practice, right? I like to be a practiced baker, and I get used to, like, the designing and stuff, but it's after many iterations, right? It doesn't. It's not just like do it once and it's very nice, right? No. So then like every time I did the show, like any of the signatures of the show, so I'm like, might be done. I don't know. For some reason, I always thought, okay, I might be done this time. Especially the first week, because like for the signature, like the love cake, I
Yeah.
felt good about it.
Yes.
I remember Kyle. She's like, oh, I'm not sure about the rose water and pumpkin, and I was like, oh. I never thought about it. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's like in those, cooking shows. They always say, oh, I don't know if it's gonna fit the flavors. I was like, oh wow, I'm in that situation. But I mean, I had family taste it, so they
Yeah.
said it was good. So luckily she liked it, right? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely a unique flavor combination with the pumpkin and rose water. Had you seen that somewhere before, or what inspired you to actually put those
uh,
two flavors together?
I think for the love cake, I think rose they use rose water in general, and then
Hmm.
I just thought pumpkin spice being more of a perfumey scent. I thought it would match
Okay.
well
Yeah.
and mix well together.
Yeah.
But some people thought the opposite. So I just I didn't know about it till the competition. When I first spoke to the judges, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I
That
got
was one. We were definitely intrigued by the combination and like, I wonder what that would taste like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I felt good about that one, and then
Mhm.
actually that one I practiced like I had like 3 times. So then that was the only one, and
Yeah.
then the technical, first time doing a technical, and then
Yeah.
I was like shmoo cake.
Okay.
I was like, okay, interesting, never heard of it. And
What
then
the heck is a shmoo cake?
yeah, I got kind of thrown off a little bit because like sometimes technical they're like because from watching from the show they're like, oh, they might have something missing or something like that, right?
Mhm.
So I was thinking, oh, is it like a super major component that's missing or something like that? So then I think I was a bit nervous and I was a bit thrown off in the beginning, right? So then, sometimes I just stood there, I was just thinking about it, right? And I think I psyched myself out. So, but
Yeah.
then, I I always tell my fans, like, hey, wait till you see this technical. It's like, yeah, it's like a smoosh, like that's what I think. Because I was like, I remember piping the rosettes, and so I was like, oh man, that didn't even like get any elevation, it's just flat.
Oh,
So then I was super nervous when I got the eighth. I was like, oh man, and then the next coming into the show, so I'm like, okay, man, I gotta do it, like do a just gotta whip myself into shape, sort of thing. And then like for some reason, doing the semi when I was doing semi half spheres, right? It's kind of
Mhm.
challenging because it takes a
oh,
while to bake and stuff.
awesome. Yes.
And then like it was the night before. Like I still tried to like at home when I was practicing. It was like I think maybe I didn't mix it enough or something, or because I didn't want to over mix it because I didn't want the batter to lose its air. But for some reason, it was like the bottom part of the sphere was like plasticky or something, like pure plastic, like very like hard plastic and inedible, right? So I was like, oh man, kind of nervous about this. And then I didn't get it down before I came, and then even when I was trying to the night before trying to practice a little bit, actually 2 nights before, then I was like plasticky still. I was like, well, what's the I tried to mix it as good as I could, and then I think that, and then I was just sitting in like with the bakers and stuff, and then it just so happened they had a conversation where they're talking about how everyone mixes their stuff, right? And then I usually never use a whisk because I thought it's too much like agitation. But then these I think it was Pamela or someone said they use a whisk, so I usually use a silicone spatula, right? So I'm folding it in. So maybe because I've never worked with such a large quantity of batter before,
Yeah.
maybe using the whisk would be better. So then I used it and then it worked, right? So then
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like, okay, I think I got it. So then going to the competition next day, I was feeling a little bit better for the showstopper. Still worried, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like I was like, wow, just never expected. Like when you're around bakers, they just talk and everyone's like just sharing how they do stuff, right?
Yeah. And that's a brilliant thing, actually. And I think Loic had a similar experience with one of his cakes that he made in season 7. And he'd never used like dowels before. And it was a conversation in the cottage that he had with the other bakers that he kind of went, what do you mean dowels? What are dowels? What do you mean supports and that kind of stuff? And it saved the day for him. And so that's kind of cool that that sharing of techniques and information and tips and tricks and that kind of stuff along the way, that saved the day. And that cake was spectacular. And what again, such an
Oh,
ambitious bake in
so
the tent. It
beautiful.
was
Oh,
beautiful.
my first draft. Maybe I have a picture of it, but I thought I would do an isomalt, like flames, and
Yeah.
then try to do a marbled buttercream, like
Oh
by
wow.
using some acetate strip and like putting it around it. But it
Mhm.
was like it didn't really turn out. And then I was
Really
like,
hard to do with a
yeah,
traditional
yeah,
shape.
because usually the marbling, like you want a nice marbling, usually it's for
Yeah.
just like a flat surface, like
Yeah.
so it's very easy. So my experience, and then you have to wait for it to harden a little bit, right? So it didn't
Yeah.
work because it was like circular. But then,
Yeah.
yeah, that first draft. Sorry, let me see if I could find a picture.
Okay.
It was just. I was like, I got to practice this again because then the first draft was just yeah. Although everyone was nice, oh yeah, I look good. I'm like, no, yeah, yeah. So let me see. I don't know if you might not be able to see it, but
It's all
this
good.
was
You can send
this
it to
was
us
part
Oh,
of
too.
the first
oh,
draft.
that's
Oh yeah.
Right?
cool.
So I was like, oh no, but like I never worked with isomalt before, and the marbling, from afar it might look nice, but I was like, oh
It
man.
wasn't what you were looking for. Well, what you ended up with in the tent that
Oh,
day looked
It was
spectacular.
so
It,
beautiful.
Oh,
it
thank
was
you.
stunning. It was definitely the definition of showstopper.
Yeah.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah, that
It's
I just
gorgeous.
because I was trying to think of alternatives. I said, "Oh, molding chocolate." Never really heard of
Oh,
like never heard of it or before. So then I just so happened to come across it, and then I was like, oh, "Okay, this works." You know, I can
Yeah.
just color it, and then it was like staying its shape, makes kind of like a nice thick tentacle rays.
Yeah.
yeah.
So then I used that, and then but then in the competition it was really hot. I don't know if it was really hot that day. It was like
Yeah.
30,
Mhm. We
30
heard
to
that was
35.
one of the hottest days. Yeah.
Yeah, so then that molding chocolate, usually when I'm working with it, when I worked at it at home, it's kind of easy. You just roll it and it doesn't stick. But at the competition, it was sticking like crazy. Like I was washing
Wow.
my hands so much, and then
Oh,
it's just usually it holds its shape. It was like kind of
Oh,
slanting down. Yeah, so I was like, I mean, luckily it turned out okay, but like it's not as it. I would have wanted to flare out a little bit more
yeah.
and stuff. So and then the buttercream, it was just like softening up because you're like
Yeah.
pipe. I had quite a bit to pipe because I had to pipe so many
hmm
Yes.
little dots, right? And then the warmth of the hand, and then
hmm
in the environment, yeah, it was starting to like you could see it's kind of melty. Yeah.
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 No, that it was beautiful. When that showstopper came on my screen, I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I felt bad because I was at Jen's, like Jen had a party for
Oh yeah, I heard
a
about that one.
viewing party. And I was sitting there and I was like, whoa. And then I was like, sorry, Jen.
No, Jen's was nice too, and so like
Yes, it was.
with
There were
yeah,
a few
chocolate.
beautiful cakes. Pamela's was gorgeous too. Her,
Oh yeah, yeah, that was nice. Like
Oh yeah, the
she,
banana split.
especially since she
banana
said
split.
yeah, she could never get it within, she said 6.5 hours, or like she got it within half an hour. But like, yeah, to do that, and it
Yeah.
was clean, very clean.
Mhm.
That cake should replace the picture of like, because then on the season 8 on CBC Gem it shows a cake. I was like, they should replace it with that cake with Pamela's cake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they should.
Yeah. I loved everything that was done that day for
Yeah.
sure in the tent. But yeah, definitely. I think the three standouts for me were your Starburst cake,
Oh, thank you.
Jen's Black Forest mushroom. That was brilliant as well, the stump. And then Pamela's banana split cake, which I thought was even more clever because it was
Because
a
it was
split cake.
literal.
It was literally a split cake. So the banana split, connection was just very, very clever.
Yeah, it
So,
was
but
really
the
good.
three of you guys were my, and ironically, you three were my top picks to get
Uh,
into that finale as
uh,
well.
Yes,
So
before the
before,
split cakes
yeah,
challenge.
before the season even started.
Yeah.
you still got two, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's got a couple horses in the race
yeah,
still.
yeah.
But she got to
Hopefully.
talk to you and she got to see Piggy. That's the coolest part, getting to see
I
Piggy.
was so happy to see Piggy. I was so happy to see Piggy. I have a huge love for stuffed animals, as does my son, who's 26, and he still has his teddy bear
Hmm
that used to be his dad's teddy bear as well.
Oh,
So, we've passed it along from generations, and it's special. Teddy bears are so incredibly special. So, and I
yeah.
know you showed us Piggy before, but can he make another sneak appearance? I
Hi,
mean,
Piggy. Why do I feel like I'm talking to an animal?
I know. Do you have a voice? Do you have a voice for Piggy?
yeah, so like so for me, I'm a twin, right? So then
That.
he my twin brother, he's big on poos. So you see a Winnie the Pooh there.
Yes.
We used to share a room, but he got married and he moved out. But that's his Winnie the Pooh, and he has a ton
Oh,
of poos, and I'm pigs. So then that's why in that picture, I think it showed him holding a Winnie the Pooh. That's his first poo. Oh, it's right.
oh,
It's like here. He didn't
Oh,
take it with him, but yeah. So this is his first, and then yeah, we kind of imagine it like Toy Story, where like when we're away, they're like all playing around and stuff, and we come back, they just go back to their spots, right?
yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then we have a lot of stuffed animals. I would say, yeah, compared to some girls, I think, or a lot of girls, we have a lot. Yeah,
Teddy bears, there's something special about teddy bears and so comforting and
Yeah.
yeah,
cute and just, I mean, I love it. I think it's so special and that's so cool. And, one day I'm sure, if
He has a
children are in your
fiance.
future, if children are in your future, being able to pass along those
yeah,
memories to your child if you want to part with them.
Oh, yeah.
You're a
They're
stuffed
smart.
animal at that point because Cozy's moved out with Josh, which makes me sad. But
Yeah, I have other pigs. Like I have this one. This he's like a black pig.
oh,
Oh,
he's
he's
so
cute.
cute.
Oh, I like
Yeah,
the contrast.
yeah. This one's oinky. So
Oinky, Piggy, and
well,
Oinky.
because he oinks. He has a so he makes a sound. So as a kid, like this is the name I'm going to give.
Yeah.
Stuff.
Yeah, that
And then
makes sense.
yeah, and then I got really into like Pumbas.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Of
you must have a Pumbaa.
course.
Yeah,
Lion King.
I have many. Like I have another one here.
Oh,
I have another one here. I don't know, like because I have another one in the back. I have 6 of them. So like
that's awesome.
I'm big on like my family's very big on Disneyland, right? So
Yeah.
every time we went Disneyland, I would go buy a Pumbaa.
Oh.
And then there's like there's 6. I have 7 of them, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Did
yeah.
you love The Lion King when you were young? Did you
Oh yeah,
watch
it was good.
it?
Yeah, I watched a
Yeah.
lot of Disney shows and stuff. So
Yeah.
I just like pigs. So a boar is a pig, I think. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yes, definitely. Yeah, my daughter watched The Lion King like when I was pregnant with her brother. The Lion King was the movie that was on repeat all the time. So it would be like 3 or 4 times a day because I was too fat and pregnant and tired to do anything. So she just sat in front of that show. But yeah, we love it. We love The
Yeah.
Lion King. It's a good
It's
movie.
such a great, yeah, it's so awesome.
And I
Yeah,
mean, Timon and Pumbaa are pretty great
yeah.
secondary characters. So
they totally are.
The new generation is Frozen, so that's their
that's true. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So tell us a little bit about your fiance, because I want to know more about this person that we've heard so
So much about
mentioned so
and
often.
inspired quite a number of your bakes.
Yeah, so I'm sure you hear the story, in the beginning, when I first started baking, she liked, it was the first it was like Thanksgiving. So she liked pumpkin pie. So I was like, okay, I'll make a pumpkin pie. I was just getting into October, right? So just getting into the baking and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I decided to try to make a pumpkin pie. And the thing is, I didn't have as much equipment back then. And so when I was making the pie crust, I used some tart ring, kind of a really large one, and then I didn't make enough pie dough. But then it was like, I don't know, it's like 2 hours before the before going to our friend's place. So then I just I stretched the dough, right, and stuff, and I'm not as good at understanding, like you shouldn't try to work at the dough too much, right? Or like the gluten, and it's gonna fight back, right? So then I just tried to stretch it all, and then just like stick it, like just like pinch it into the tart ring, and then I just put in the filling, and then it's kind of ugly, but yeah, and then I think it was just not fully cooked, right? And then I took it to my friend's place. My friends were nice; they still ate it and stuff, right? But Amrita, she still said, yeah, the filling's good, but like it was really gummy and like kind of hard to dough, right? So I think that kind of scarred her a little bit. So then I continued my baking journey, started doing mousse cakes, got better at it, got to a point where I think it's good, right? And then I would ask her, I think half a year, and I was still asking, you want? And then you want any? And then she's like, no. Yeah, it was like very fast. No, it's okay. No, it's okay. I was like, oh, okay. But then I finally said, okay, no, you got to try some. And then she liked it, and then from then on, she always likes my baking, except right now she's trying to wash the sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys
She's
have a
not the
wedding
only one.
coming up. Are you baking your own wedding cake?
I want to. I mean, for both my brothers, I did the wedding cakes. So
Wow.
it depends how fast the plan. Like we're on a pretty good pace right now. Like we've got our almost finalized. I think our wedding decor, and so depending how well, like how quickly we do things, I want to do it, but we'll see.
Yeah. So do you guys have like a date set and all that ready to go?
It's in summertime, so should be nice weather, and looking forward to it. It's I'm having it at the Fairmont, so we kind of my fiance, we like Bridgerton, and then kind of wanted to be that sort of theme, and so like when I for my proposal tour, it was last year. We were at Whistler, and then she didn't know, but there was another. We were in one hotel room, and then my family was in another hotel, a bigger room, and that had a hallway. And then before I went to Whistler, I called my brothers in and their wives, and I said, okay, this is I drew kind of like a vision of it, right? And I bought everything like rose petals, and then a lot of candles of different heights.
Oh,
And
wow.
then so how I told them to help me design it in the room was rose petals along the hallway, and then many different candle shapes along it too. And then we had like a couple of Bluetooth speakers which they all linked together. And then there was one of my favorite songs is Halo by Beyonce. And then I realized they had the Queen Charlotte series, it's like the spin-off, had like a Bridgerton violin
Yes.
version of the Halo, right? So I was like, oh, I like that. And then so I thought I use it as the song. So then once she opened the door, I told her we're getting an upgrade for a room, right? And then she, oh, okay. And then then I led her to it. And then the moment they hear the door, they play the music, and then lead her down the hall. And then there's a heart shape, like candles making a heart shape and rose petals in the center. And then there's these big "Marry Me" sign letters. And then my brothers decided to ask a question mark because it looks like you're demanding "Marry Me." Yeah. So then, that was my proposal.
Romantic.
Yeah, I think
Very romantic.
yeah, kind of. I think I get it from my dad, the romanticness.
Oh, that is so sweet. I bet, and obviously it was
Yes.
well accepted, and
Yes. Well, because she thought it was just like, oh, okay, like a formality now, right? Been together for so long, and then it would just be like before we go to dinners, like, here, will you marry me, or something like that in the hotel room, just like quiet, right? And it's oh, okay, yeah, but then no, I surprised her with that. Yes.
You did a
must have been
great job.
cool.
Amrita is a lucky girl.
Oh no, I'm lucky to have her. No, no.
Oh,
Aw, of course,
you're
we
very
knew
sweet.
you would say that. That is so very sweet. Well, congratulations to you
Thanks
both, and wishing you both a long, happy life of love, health, and happiness together.
Yes.
Um,
so much.
that's so special.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know. I'm all like, oh, I mean, I can't
know.
complain
That's so
about how my
sweet.
proposal went, but it also happened because I was like basically telling him for 8 years, you have to propose to me, please. But yours is beautiful and lovely, and yeah, I'm really I can picture it. Just so beautiful.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I know that song too, so I remember I can just
Yeah.
imagine it in my head. Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. And the Fairmont's just such a
Oh,
perfect place for that
beautiful.
Bridgerton kind of
Yeah.
theme wedding as
Yeah. Yeah.
well.
Because
That
because
was,
it's the Vancouver Fairmont, so if you ever look it
Mm,
up, it's like already got the setting.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a castle like appearance. So
yeah.
just got to put the right decor, and then it should look good.
Oh, it'll be
Stunning.
amazing.
Oh, I imagine it will be absolutely stunning. And yeah, that's so
You
cool.
might want to get somebody else to make your cake in case you're
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah,
swamped with stuff.
or else I'll be sometimes when you're the one making cake, you're worried it's gonna flop over or
Oh,
something.
for sure.
Or
Yeah.
something like that, right? So
Yeah. But just see how things go in the planning and everything.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, sure.
maybe you don't want to trust it to anybody else.
You do
Yeah,
have
I mean,
you do
oh
have a
sorry.
few baker friends.
Oh yeah.
You have a
Yeah,
few
it's like,
baker
oh,
friends
yeah,
you could probably call.
yeah.
Hey.
It's too big a time. I would rather they enjoy.
Oh, you are a very, very kind, warm-hearted person.
Oh, thank you.
And I know that not just because Patty told us that it was like, oh, he's the sweetest.
The people around me shape me. Parents were, raised me, and you pick up from parents, good role models and
Yeah.
stuff, and
Yeah.
just so I gotta give them credit. They sometimes you can grow yourself, but I think I was very close with my family. They instilled a lot of family values into me, like always. We always like eat dinner together and stuff because that's where a lot of the talking is in the dinner
Yes.
table, right? Because sometimes everyone's so busy, they might. I know I have a lot of friends that take their dinner and go to their room and stuff. But you know,
Yeah.
we grew up eating together, and we, you know, before everyone moved out, we still were.
I
Yeah.
love
Oh,
that.
that's
That's
beautiful.
wonderful. Yeah. And
How
as
nice.
a mother of grown adults, I can only hope that my children ever talk about me the way that you talk about your family.
Uh,
Right?
So
I'm trying to,
wonderful.
Absolutely.
it's the sentimentality, you know.
I love it. Oh gosh, it's my favorite thing in the world.
That is so beautiful, Marcus.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it wasn't just Patty who told us you were awesome.
No, that's true.
Pretty much every single baker we've spoken to so far this season has said how incredible a human being you are and how kind and warm and just overall lovely. And yeah. So
No, they were good. Like all of them were very good, and like for me, like I and you know I was I'm the quiet. I'm the quieter type, right? But then when I got eliminated, I wanted to show like how, like I'm thankful for them and stuff, right? And I was really been a blessing to be around them. So I drew pictures for all of them, like.
Oh,
Actually, I didn't get sleep because I was I usually I think I was just staying up. I brought these markers, and then I just because I was thinking when I was doing like designing, like if I needed to create a design, I just use my markers to draw something. But then
yeah.
instead, I used it to draw. As you talk together and stuff, you listen, you hear things about people and stuff, and then with Patty, I was the first one. Like she had her cat, and then so
Yeah.
I drew something of her cat, and then and everyone else, the night before I just drew something like number of things that represent them based on what I know about them, and then I just wanted to give them a goodbye gift, just to
Oh, that's
show.
so kind of you.
yeah.
Yeah.
How
Your artistic skill is really beautiful. I mean, you've got both halves of your brain working really well. If you are
Oh,
working with numbers and stuff like
yeah.
that all the time, and then you also can be artistic. Nice.
Well, my twin brother, he's more artistic than me. He's an animator,
Oh
so
wow.
yeah, so he does animation, and he's doing a children's kid show. It's called Blaze the Fire Truck. No, Blaze. So it's like a car show. So yeah, he's
Oh,
got more of the artistic side. So
wow.
I always say, what happens if our egg didn't split and we were just one human being?
yeah.
Then I would absorb some of him, or he would absorb some of the rest of the artistic talent.
There you go. Are you guys identical twins?
Yeah, we're genetically identical. We were born 2 months premature.
Oh,
So when usually twins are born premature, and then but we were like smaller than usual
really
because
preemie.
when my twin brother was born, he was 1 pound 12 ounces. So
Wow.
he's pretty much the size of this mouse, I think, or like pretty much, yeah, or smaller, I think. And then I was 4 pounds 1 ounce. So
Wow.
like,
You have big size discrepancy. So was there a twin to twin transfusion thing happening there?
I think he landed a part of my mom's placenta where they didn't get much nutrients, so his umbilical cord was like super tiny, right?
Oh,
And then I was kind of tiny too. So like usually, I think when you can probably usually leave the hospital within the week, but I was there for a month and he was there for 2 months.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was
That
just
makes
for
sense.
my mom's it was a scary time because like
Oh,
especially for my twin brother, he's so small, and then like for him, drinking milk like at that size, one drop is already probably a cup,
I know.
of milk to
Yeah.
him, right, for so long, right?
Yeah. Yeah. A
yeah.
newborn's stomach is so, so, so small. And then you have the newborn itself being like a quarter of the size of a usual size for a newborn. It's like, wow. Doesn't
Yeah,
take much to fill them up. Well, I'm
Yeah.
really glad you guys survived
yeah,
and are doing so well. That's
yes,
amazing. Wow. Yeah, the story. Your mother and father must have just been like, oh, yeah, that's a
yeah.
lot.
I think my twin brother, I can call him a miracle baby because he's kind of small. Yeah, so
Is he
I'm
still smaller, a lot smaller than you?
he's half a head shorter than me.
Yeah.
So I think we are, if we kind of grew equally, I think we would be identical. But
Yeah.
yeah,
He had a bit of a
that's
slower
why.
start. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I say
Yeah.
genetically identical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. If the egg split, then yeah. Wow. Well, what do
Wow.
you guys think about twisting it around a little bit and playing a little game of this or that?
Yeah.
Are you
Okay.
game?
You ready? You know how this works, right, Marcus?
I hope so. I remember
It's
saying so.
super easy. We're
Super.
going to ask you to choose between a couple of things, maybe three, maybe four sometimes. Just let us know what your preference is. No right or wrong answers. And yeah, just have some
And
fun.
just a little bit of judgment from
Maybe a little bit of judgment. That's all. But it's all fun and games. And I'll never judge you. I only judge Lisa. So you're safe.
That's what sisters are for.
Just kidding. Exactly. Exactly.
All
Cool.
right.
Right.
First,
You want to
coffee
start it
or
off?
tea? Yes, coffee or tea.
Uh, huh. Well, for me, I drink like I drink like a triple espresso shot in the morning
I
and triple.
Yes.
I remember you said that, and I was just like,
But the thing is, I'm not a coffee. I don't call myself a coffee drinker because then before I didn't drink any coffee, but then I just tried to. I was kind of getting tired, so during my work days, I was like, oh, maybe let me try. So then a person that doesn't know, they call it an espresso shot. So I thought it's like an alcohol shot. So I thought you do it and you drink it up really fast, right? But and and I didn't realize that people take their time with it, in the small cup, So I just kept downing it, for me, and then I just dilute it with water and I just drink it every morning. That's how I drink it every morning, Like, so I don't know if I enjoy coffee because I'm not but
you don't even taste it. You just
it just goes
yeah,
down the hatch.
yeah. So it's just kind of like a just a
a
routine, I
boost.
guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
routine.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how long have you been drinking coffee for then? When did you start drinking coffee again?
Maybe like 6 years.
Okay, so
Uh-huh.
not a lot. So do
Yeah.
you prefer tea then? Were you a tea drinker before?
Well, I don't drink as much tea, so that's why I just say coffee
Must
because
be a coffee drinker.
yeah,
He doesn't know if he enjoys it, but he
yeah,
drinks it. So
He
he's
just
a
drinks
coffee
it.
guy.
He drinks it for the caffeine hit, it sounds like.
I mean, and if you drink that much coffee and yet you still were able to just have a nap anywhere when you were
Oh
in.
yeah, it doesn't seem to do anything. Like I don't know, it doesn't do anything. I don't feel like ooh from the caffeine, but just because I'm so used to the routine, I kind of
Yeah.
enjoy the routine of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I
That makes
understand
sense.
that. Yeah, my routine starts with a coffee in the morning for sure.
Yeah,
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 not an
same.
espresso shot. I do take my time with my coffee and I
Oh
put
yeah, you should.
cream and
Yeah,
sugar.
I'm not a good example.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Sweet or savory bakes?
Mm. I mm. I enjoyed the savory bake. But it's not as versatile. You can. So I like sweet bakes because I I like sugar. Yeah.
Well, that's a
Yeah,
very good reason to like the sweet bakes.
Actually, for me, I like sweet bake when it has pastry dough, some sort of pastry dough, especially laminated dough. Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And you, I must say, are the
Laminate.
laminated dough king.
Oh,
Holy man, how you were able to pull off that
The full puff.
galette de roi shaped and designed lamb Wellington
mm.
with a full puff in, I think it was what, 4 hours and 15 minutes or whatever you guys had to do that bake?
The for the Wellington, I think everyone put in their stuff like an hour or 10 minutes before. I put mine in like 50 minutes
Yeah.
before. I was like,
3 hours and 30 minutes. That's all you had.
3 hours and 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh, that's even more impressive.
had to some you need it to cool so that, and also like let the gluten rest a bit, but I guess in the competition you just gotta exercise a little bit, so just gotta roll harder. I guess.
That was incredible.
It's
That
very
was,
impressive, Marcus.
yeah.
and then the puff pastry cinnamon bun, I remember, because then I know like there's the Swedish cinnamon bun. I was like, okay, like that's it seems like a Swedish cinnamon. I wanted to elevate somehow, right?
Mhm.
I was like, oh, then I thought of puff pastry brioche, right? I was like, I like making croissants and stuff. So I said, if I can pull it off,
Mhm.
then it could pay in dividends sort of
Yeah.
thing. So during when I did it at home, I did it. It wasn't as it wasn't as thin as the competition. It was actually thick, but then I cut it in half the size so that it would kind of bake faster,
Okay.
and I think it's a better bite. Fits the mouth more.
Yeah.
So yeah, luckily it turned out in the show, so it paid off. But
Did you
how much?
ever think that it might not turn out, or did you just say, I'm just gonna do it?
Yeah, maybe because the time limit and stuff, right? And then also like it's not as bad as puff pastry because it's like two folds. I think it's like a trip a book fold. Let's see, a single fold and a book fold, right? So that's I think the standard for a croissant. So then that was okay. But then when I put it in the proofing jar, the proofing jar is pretty hot. Like it's not like a warm. It's like super
Yeah.
hot. So when I put it in, I was like to puff it up and stuff. Then I was like, oh, okay, well, it's kind of hot, but I had no time, right? And then I'm afraid that the butter layer would melt, right? And then you kind of lose it because then it sinks into it seeps into the dough. But it so happened, that it turned out okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
you did a beautiful job on that one.
Yeah, that was impressive. Lots of people were talking about that, and it looked so beautiful. And the fact that, okay, so if you only had to do that in the time that you were allowed to bake, that would have been impressive enough. But then
you did two other bakes,
two other major bakes.
I was up to the last minute because I spent so much time taking care of the puff pastry brioche that I was like, oh man, like the secondaries was the princess cake and the vanilla tartan cookie. I was like, oh man, no. I thought I was like, okay, gotta roll that marzipan, gotta color it. Like I was like up to the wire.
You did
crazy.
You did
that was
such
impressive.
a great job.
Super impressive.
Yeah, it was. Okay, speaking of that, signature, technical, or showstopper?
Not technical. Yeah, I would say because in hindsight, showstopper's fun. So like because I didn't have like super big boo boo, so like and so that and then the fact that at home I was like practicing at 6.5 hours and then I just somehow was able to do it is kind of like it felt like an accomplishment. So it kind of had some good feelings in hindsight. So I would say showstopper.
Showstopper. Good answer. Yeah. And a good reason to feel that way. I mean, it's very daunting when you have practiced it once and it took 6.5 hours and you're like, oh, do I have to practice this again? And then you know that you still don't have it down to the time that you need when you're in the tent. And somehow the tent is magic and it happens.
Yeah.
Right? Lots of magic going on in that tent for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Shmoo cake or origami cake?
Well, I didn't really do that well for both of them. Like the shmoo cake. Let's see. Well, I like entremets. So
that's what I was going to say. Yeah, you
like the origami, and also we put it in dry ice. So I never experienced. When I first read the instruction, I was like, "How are we going to do this?" Because it's a mousse cake. And then the magic of dry ice. So I was like, if I didn't do as well in it, but I would, if I had a chance, I would want to do that one again.
Do that one again?
Origami.
How long did it take to chill, like to cool it down properly, freeze it in the dry ice?
Like 15 minutes.
Oh,
and wow. And that was equivalent to like 6-7 hours in the mold.
Yeah. It took me 12 hours to do that bake. That was just.
Oh, you did it though. Just let it freeze, sort of thing, right?
Yeah, and it says in the recipe that you have to leave it for
for
4 hours to overnight. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to bed now.
Because I was looking up where to find dry ice because it's kind of cool, but like it's not that easy to find.
No,
that's really cool that it shrinks down the time that much.
Yeah,
literally very cool.
I know. Yeah,
too cool. Don't be touching it yet. Bread or pastry?
Pastry bread? Is that a combination?
Yeah, you could do that.
You kind of did pastry bread. Yes.
I like to do bread. I like to do pastry, but I like it when it's together, laminated. That's why I like making the laminated. It's like the border between both of them.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite laminated dough that you do? Like you said, you do croissants. Do you do like all the fancy like croissant cubes or the?
I haven't tried the croissant cubes and stuff because I was like with the croissant, I'm too afraid. So when I'm doing the croissant, I'm too afraid to try new things because then it takes you know, you make it, but like you can't make it like in the bakery. You can make like maybe like 10 to 12 of them, right? So then
Yeah.
I was like, what happens if I spend so much time on it and then I try a new shape and it doesn't turn out, and I'm too afraid to sacrifice my dough, you know?
Well, and
Understand.
everything's
Yeah,
so
understandable.
expensive too, right?
Yeah,
Butter's
yeah,
like crazy these days.
yeah, because the competition was the first time I flipped it on the side, right, to do that cinnamon bun. So
Mm,
yeah.
nice. Savory week or coffee and tea week?
I would say all these I like both. uh,
All of these.
I would say coffee and tea week because like I just had a really fun time that week.
Yeah.
Not in the moment, but like you know,
Actually,
right after.
I think that week was actually no, it was Savory Week. Actually, it was the week that I think we all saw, like as viewers, saw a little bit more relaxed of an like
Mm,
as much as
yeah.
relaxed it would be in that tent. But we did see like everybody was having a little bit more fun. Everybody was just a little bit more relaxed, and maybe it was because you knew what to kind of expect in the tent. Maybe
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, the first episode's like you get used to it, right? Like the cameras are just there and stuff, and then you know, they're just right by you and stuff. So it was very like just not used to it, right? And then talking and stuff like that, I'm bad at multitasking. So sometimes I feel like as I'm talking,
You
they ask me
stop
something,
working.
I'm talking, I either stop working or trail off, you know,
Yeah.
and then I forget.
Yeah.
Like there's that part of the episode where like I was wanting to heat up my milk and like I'm gonna go now because like
I
because then
like
I'm
that.
because then I'm like, for me, I was like, okay, do you guys want to follow me? Because I'm gonna go, and I don't want to. And then for me, it's like I want to survive at least that week, you know. So I'm just
Mhm.
gonna, you know, see ya, you know.
That was so good.
I might be
I'll
bad
be
TV,
back.
you know.
You need to be able to say that. You're in
Yeah,
the middle of a challenge. You can't just, stand there talking to them if you have things to do. So I really applauded that actually. I
Yes,
loved it. You're just
I
like,
thought that was
okay,
good.
okay, bye now. I
yeah.
gotta
So
go.
that's why I think like it's kind of good editing. It's like, oh, they want to do an intro, but then like, okay, we'll come back to them later because.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was great.
Bad time right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Chocolate, white milk, dark, or some other kind of chocolate.
I like dark chocolate.
Mhm.
Really?
I like the bitterness of the dark chocolate,
Oh,
and I like to temper chocolate. It just takes a like I brought my bowl, like I had a bowl that I used to practice tempering, because usually you know how you temper chocolate, you can either put it in an ice bath or something like that, and I'm not too good. I wasn't too good with that because then the temperature swing just drops by so much.
yes, so
So
quickly.
then I used like some bowl, like it's like a plastic, like a OXO microwavable bowl, and then
Hmm.
I just put it in, like I microwaved the chocolate and then I put it in an ice bowl, and then it drops a lot. It drops fast, but it drops like more controlled
Right, yeah.
environment, control it better. So yeah, dark chocolate, because I like the taste of it, and I like it as darker.
And it does temper well.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
tempers
it's easier to temper too.
white chocolate's probably the hardest to temper. It doesn't have the snap sometimes afterwards, or maybe I'm just not tempering it well enough.
No, Steve Levitt said that it's always a little
Yeah,
bit
in the
softer.
podcast, he said
Yeah,
that, right? Like
yeah.
you're not gonna get it from the original snap, I guess.
Yeah,
Chocolate's so temperamental.
yeah,
I,
it is. That's for sure.
I found it so like when I first learned about temperature, I was like, oh wow, there's this process. Because then there's this popular chocolate store in Vancouver. It's called Beta 5.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
so then I didn't know that the name, because then as I did, you know, read more about it, that's the crystal state you want the chocolate to be, beta crystals, right?
Oh,
So
that's why it's called that.
Yeah.
yeah, so I was like, oh yeah, that's why it's called that, right? That's
Love it.
pretty, yeah.
And
I
they
love
do
the
such
science of
amazing
baking.
stuff there at Beta 5.
Yeah.
Their chocolates, their shoe that they do is
They're
like,
not doing the shoe pastries anymore because they
they're
said,
not.
yeah, they're I think they're finishing off in December. They said they're no longer doing it. They're going to go back to just concentrating on chocolates,
On
because
chocolate.
I think back then, I don't know if they started during COVID time, but I think they needed to kind of fund themselves a bit better, so they did
Right.
like shoe pastry, and I think it became more popular than a chocolate or something
Yeah,
like that.
because
But
they
then
always had
So they're
these
phasing it out. Oh,
Yeah, because they said they just, I think their chocolate is business doing well, so
Yeah,
they just
that
want
makes
that,
okay.
and
sense.
I think that's the passion.
There you go.
Yeah.
Cool. Pie or cake?
Hmm.
And pie could be tarts too.
Oh, then pies, like tarts.
Tarts?
I like to do tarts. I like because I it's the perforated tart rings and stuff. Just
Mhm.
just you know to get that perfect shape.
Oh,
That's very satisfying.
oh, it's so
Nice.
satisfying. Have you tried doing vertical tarts?
No. Oh, do you just is it just like a ring and then you just
Yeah,
like
standing up.
vertical
Yeah.
and
I
then you put filling in or something that like
hmm
oh
Yeah.
no, I wanted to though.
Wow,
Yeah, it's
vertical
pretty
tart.
cool. Yeah, the vertical tart. I think it was it Mary Berry or was it Prue Leaf? I can't remember which from the Great British Bake Off, but I think it might have been Mary Berry.
Mm.
I'm not gonna, don't quote me on that. Anyway, so I searched out the recipe when I saw it on Great British Bake Off just because it looks so beautiful. They're just standing up there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. You have to
yeah,
be really confident about your filling on that one.
I know.
hmm
Like it has to be like frozen filling, or do you like have something to enclose it, like close it
It
up or
was
something?
it was a gelée, and so
Oh, okay.
it
Oh,
was
Yeah.
you
gelée.
just cut out the half of the sphere and fit it
Oh,
inside.
okay. Yeah, yeah. And then
Yeah, it looked really pretty.
did they do any
Oh,
piping design
okay.
on the
Yeah,
top?
it had a few other elements
Oh, okay.
around it,
Gotcha.
and some gold leaf, which of course was floating around my kitchen for the next hour. Yeah, but
Cool.
it was really fun. You should try it. I'd love to
Oh,
see what you would do with it.
oh, yeah. I should try it. Maybe you'll see on Instagram or something like that.
Yes,
There you
I'll be
go. That would
looking.
be awesome.
Yes.
And going back to the tarts and your first one that you made for your fiance that she tried the pumpkin, have you
Yeah.
remade that one for her again? I know you
Oh,
did
yeah.
the redemption cake as a love cake with the
Yeah.
pumpkin, but did you ever do a pumpkin pie for her again?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I did it more of a tart crust rather than the pie crust. But yeah, it's not too hard now.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, she
Nice.
obviously thinks you're good at baking if she
Oh,
suggested
yeah.
you get on the show.
Yeah.
So, speaking of baking, baking in your kitchen or baking in the tent?
Mm, hmm. Uh, both are enjoyable. Like I can say, like so, kitchen I like because it's a comfortable environment. But the only thing is, I have to wash stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm a bit OCD. So I like when I get to a certain step, I'm like, okay, I can't keep going. Like when it comes to like say decorating a cake, I'm like, okay, I just want to have everything off the
Clean first.
dishwasher,
Mhm.
washed and wiped, and then
Yeah.
just put away so that I can feel like there's less clutter. So if there's someone to do that, then kitchen, but in the tent, you don't have to wash anything, right? So
Brilliant.
So lucky.
the tent, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's a balancing act, right?
Yeah, actually, the tent. I would say tent is fun because in hindsight, again, everything in hindsight, because just the experience, right? Just
Yeah.
feeling very sentimental
Yeah.
about it.
I bet.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bet. Yeah.
Like that, especially as the season's actually airing right now and it's coming to a close in the next few weeks too. I mean,
Yeah.
it probably brings back a lot of those feelings and the sentiments.
Oh yeah, when we had to keep quiet for so long, right? And
Yeah.
then it was just an exciting time when they started doing the promotion and revealing all the bakers. So like yeah, that's when it kind of, because you go through it and then like you go back to kind of your regular life and stuff, and then
Mm.
for me I was busy and stuff.
Yeah.
So then as it came back, you get some reflection time, and then you just at times you sit there, or as you're watching the show, you're like, oh wow, can't believe it, like it's especially with family, and then friends message you like, oh what the heck, I didn't know you're in a baking show, and like, and then some people I haven't spoken to, oh, you're a baker, like,
Well, that's
Oh,
so
that
really
is so
awesome.
cool. It
I'm
sounds
glad
like
you're
you,
sentimental about it.
yeah. And it sounds like you had such a wonderful experience in that tent as well.
Mhm.
oh yeah, because bakers, camaraderie is a lot of truly camaraderie. Sometimes you have some shows, especially the American ones, they really like to pit people against each other and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the Canadian show, like if you watch Canadian MasterChef, very nice too, right? Maybe a little bit of drama, but here it's like a
Well,
totally family
Alvin,
friendly show, and
scary.
yeah. So here everyone's like very friendly, and
Mhm.
like they treat you well, and then just it just so happened that everyone got along. I mean, I think everyone gets along, but like just for, I mean, I don't know, like, but for my experience at the
Yes.
tent, like we all got along and everyone's nice. Like you said, like there's the promotion, those clips of people helping each other and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not. I didn't help anyone. Maybe I look mean by not helping. It's because I didn't have time. I was always the like up to the last minute, and like I was. So then when I watched that again, I was like, oh yeah, I didn't help anyone because
No,
Yeah.
we know you would have if you had had time.
Exactly. And honestly, we never noticed that
No.
you didn't. So you'd be safe. But now you told us, now we know you didn't help anybody. No, I'm just kidding.
And we don't judge you because
No.
we don't judge, except for maybe with this question.
And I think that's probably, that's part of it though. If you're done, then you offer to help, right? So it's like you're on an airplane, they always say, make sure you put your own mask on first, right? Well, make sure your bakes are done first, and then you can offer assistance to other people who might need that help, right? So I don't think.
Yeah, because like I might look calm in the show, but I'm nervous. I'm like sweating. So like I think I have a picture of the sun cakes sweating. I think it's hereditary. Like I sweat a lot in general. So and I sweat when I'm nervous, right? Like it's just if I put in a nervous situation, I already perspirate. I feel it. It's like, oh, well, my brothers and I can already. We're just all of a sudden like, oh, you're feeling it, and then so I may look calm during the competition, but I'm nervous on the inside. But then the thing is, I'm not keeping it in too. I just that's how I'm just, I guess if I get nervous, I just do it. Keep working.
Yeah, you just keep going.
Perfect.
That's all you can do, right?
Yeah.
All right. So this next question.
Oh, here we go.
This next question might make you nervous. Are you ready for it? The last one. Butter tarts, raisins or no raisins?
Oh yeah, they asked this before, right?
This is a classic question for the Great Canadian Baking Show.
I don't know. I think growing up, I'm pretty good at eating anything, So I eat all sorts of combinations, of food and stuff,
Yeah.
So I would like both. I think. Is there such an answer?
Yes, you answer however you want to answer.
Let's say I can respect both.
Oh, great. He's an equal operationist.
Yeah.
Opportunist.
I would eat both, like if a few raisins, someone decide to drop it in because they want to see a reaction, I wouldn't react. I would just eat it.
Especially if you had a great pastry to go along with that, right? Like as long as the pastry shell was perfectly done. Because let's face it, that's the important part of the butter tart is really the vessel that it all comes in.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Nice. Oh,
well, the way that we always wrap things up here is we ask our baker guests to share a baking scrap. So that's a tip or a trick for people who are maybe just getting started in baking or people who maybe just need a little encouragement along the way. Do you happen to have a baking scrap for us, Marcus?
Let me think. I would say, when you first start baking, I would say go for, you always want it to be pleasing with the eye. We always say we eat with our eye, but in the beginning, it's, you want it aesthetically pleasing and tasty, but a lot of times it's more so the aesthetics come after. Just try to get the taste down first, and then you can practice to make it look perfect.
That's a really good answer. Yeah.
That is great. Because I think a lot of people strive for that perfect looking dessert first right out of the gate. And then when it doesn't happen, they get disappointed. But you're right though. I think focusing on the flavor and the taste and the textures is far outweighs what that product might look like or that bake might look like.
Yeah. So, actually, I have another one, but it just came into my mind.
Bonus.
If I would say, if you get an opportunity to finish to make what makes the bake look good is glaze. The shine of a glaze. Like that really like sets things apart sometimes aesthetically. Like for example, a pecan tart. When it comes out, it's like, it looks nice. But then when you put the shine on, the glaze, then it's like, wow, the colors really pop out, the contrast. And then same for this. That's what I did for the cinnamon bun, right?
Yeah,
like
I was going to say.
I did a glaze, right? Like some people don't glaze it, which still looks nice. But then, especially if it's the camera, you just,
It's
I would
how
say glaze is magical.
Yes,
glaze is magical.
I love that.
Top tip today.
And those fika buns that you made were spectacularly shiny and bright. You
Yeah,
could see them when you were
I
walking up, and it's like,
Listening.
yeah,
You
I wish I got to try them.
didn't get to try them at all? Oh yeah.
uh, a little bit, but then I think that
The crew eats
Drew
it all.
probably devoured them.
was a good sign.
Yes,
It is.
exactly. Yes.
Exactly. Well, Marcus, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Maybe.
We so appreciate you taking the time out of your very busy life and fighting traffic to get to us.
Thanks for putting on this show. I listen to it weekly. It's been really nice to listen to, and then with the bakers, we talk about it too, right? So
Wonderful.
like I think, I would say, I mean, it must be very nice to be able to talk with the bakers directly,
Mhm.
and stuff like that.
It's been such an honor for us to be able to have those conversations with all of you. We're so grateful for all of your support and how gracious you all are. It really, Lisa and I pinch each other ourselves,
Not
and
each other.
I haven't pinched you
Ourselves.
yet, but I pinch myself often. How lucky and grateful
Yeah.
I am to be able to do this and have these wonderful conversations with all of you guys. To be honest with you,
Because is it how long have you guys been doing this podcast? 6 months?
Since
A year?
June.
yeah,
Yeah.
since June,
Not very long.
yeah,
Since June.
yeah,
Wow. Yeah. And then you've been able to get, I think you got Bruno?
yeah.
Were you
We
Bruno
able to
and
get
did. Bruno
Kyla,
and
yeah.
Kyla. Yeah.
Yeah. So, did you just reach out to them and they're like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Well,
actually, we had done how we ended up with Bruno and Kyla. We actually on one of the Instagram posts just put it out there and said, "Hey, who would you guys like to see on the podcast?"
Yeah.
And Bruno's name came up, and so did Kyla's. And then so I'd actually when Bruno's came up, I sent a little just replied
Tagged
to
it. Yeah.
the Instagram post and stuff, reposted it, and said and tagged Bruno and said, "Hey, Bruno, are you game?" And then he sent a note saying, "Yeah, I'm all in."
Were
So
you surprised? Or,
Oh, we were
we
so
were
excited.
flabbergasted. We were like, we did a Rita.
Yeah, we did.
yeah.
And
did a
then
Rita.
we went through all the proper channels and
Yeah.
we ended up talking with, the people who handle all the PR and everything. And yeah, it worked out and it was wonderful. And
And
we're
then
so grateful.
now you get first dibs on everyone, all the most people. I don't think anyone would say no for the most part. So that's pretty cool.
It's amazing.
It's been so wonderful to have everybody's support. Honestly, it just means the world to us. And
It does.
yeah, and it's so awesome to be able to share all of your guys' stories with our audience too, and so they learn a little bit more about who each of the bakers are, and understand their stories a little bit more. So
yeah, I
it's
think that's good. Yeah, I think the show, given it's 10, especially in the beginning, you start with 10 people. You only get a few tidbits of people. You can only get so much introduction, and then you have to show the baking. So then, of course, as it gets to less bakers, they get more screen time and stuff. But
Yeah.
I think this podcast, I think, gives opportunity for, hey, say someone like me who's just more concentrated, not as talkative or something, to just be show a little bit of who I am, sort of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. That's
And
our
it's
favorite part.
Yeah, and it's been such a pleasure speaking with you, and we really do thank you for joining us today. We wish you and Rita nothing but the absolute very best
Thank you.
as you guys get closer to your wedding day, and yeah, and wishing you all the very best
Mhm.
in
Keep
your
in touch.
life together.
Yeah. I wish you the best too. Are you guys still gonna try to audition?
I think nothing can stop me at this point. I have to keep trying.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I mean, we'll see. I mean, here's the tough thing. Like Lisa and I are very much aware that we would never be on the same season
Mm-hmm.
because we're just too alike. We're both from BC, both around the same age, both similar demographic. We know there's usually one spot for us, maybe two. And then if there are two, they would be geographically diverse from each other. So yeah. So anyway, I
We
don't know.
calculate the odds. We know they're
Yeah,
very, very low, very
yeah,
small.
exactly. So I don't know. I'm gonna see how I feel.
Yeah. I guess it never hurts to, I mean, because you know people now and stuff, right? And it's kind of nice to, it's kind of like catching up sometimes, right? So you,
Yeah,
That's
and
true.
then I think it's
yeah,
fun.
fair enough.
It's fun, right? Like for me, I was nervous, but I remember now that the carousel, right? So then you guys seem to know people, right? So
We
that
had
must be
so much
nice.
fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was such a that was such a beautiful event actually, and it
Hmm.
was
Hmm.
such a great time to connect with so many people and the other baker, the bakers and alumni that had been on the show as
Yeah,
well.
that's
Yeah.
cool. Like, is it like they is it people? Is it based on placement or is it based on like just people in the vicinity that were past bakers?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's people who were in the area, like lived
Well,
in the general area. And I think
generally
Candace,
speaking,
her son lives, or he goes to
goes to
UBC.
UBC.
And so she looked at it as an opportunity to come out and visit her son at the same time. So she was there for the Vancouver audition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw, yeah, because I saw a number like I don't know how many people, how many past contestants were there. I just know Loic, Candice, and then there was
Karen was
yeah,
there
Sure.
and John came over
John
from
came.
Victoria. And then Andre was there
Andre.
as well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I spoke with
Yeah,
Andre.
you spoke with Andre. Yeah,
Yeah,
we just did a little bake along with Andre this past weekend actually, and he mentioned how he remembers you from the Vancouver audition.
yeah. So I had a good. I think I had a good talk with him.
Yeah.
I think he's good at tempering chocolate. I think so. Yeah.
Good
He's
at
pretty much good
everything.
at everything,
Yeah,
Marcus.
that's what I hear, man. Yeah, I hear he's good at everything. And then
Yeah.
he did the Christmas, the holiday one, and he won that one.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
He's got two cake plates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
Yeah,
is.
Oh,
yeah,
that must be. I mean, for him, that must be cool, right? So to just come back, especially like for a holiday bake, that
Hmm.
that's to go back to the tent, Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
absolutely.
All right,
Well,
we got to wrap this up. I've
yeah.
got somebody coming over with Thai food to watch Survivor with me.
Oh,
ooh,
nice.
fun.
I'm very excited because I'm hungry. But this is great.
Uh,
I'm really glad we had this
Yeah,
opportunity.
sorry for making so late. Like I
oh
kind of
no, this
No,
is
broke the
it's
trend,
perfect.
of getting. Usually it's afterward the episode, but it's like now you have to do another one too. So
Nope, it's all good. We'll air
Marcus.
this tomorrow. It'll be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much again for everything,
thank you.
Marcus. And
Yeah.
let's do this again sometime.
Oh
Maybe
yeah,
we get,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, you
maybe
guys were
we,
so Victoria and White Rock. So yeah, my fiance lives in White Rock. So
oh, does she?
yeah, like
There you
Whereabouts?
go.
like South Surrey area. So right by like 5 minutes from White Rock area.
Oh,
So
okay,
Well, if
cool.
you guys get together, send me pictures so I can be jealous.
Yeah, that would be
Go to Beta
awesome.
5
you
and
You
can
get
meet
go
your
to Beta 5 or
shoe pastry while you can. All
sounds
right.
awesome.
Have a great
All
night,
right.
Marcus.
Yeah,
We'll
you
see
too.
you.
Thanks
Thanks.
so much. Yeah.
We'll see you
Thank
later.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Was that wonderful having Marcus on?
Yeah, I'm
I'm
really glad to get to speak to him personally and be able to get a little bit more insight into who he is. And yeah, he's lovely.
Oh my goodness, how wonderful was that? And I think, we didn't really get to see that Marcus. We saw little glimpses of
Yes.
Marcus and who he was, but it was just so wonderful to get that opportunity to really have a nice conversation with him and really understand, his thoughts, the thought bubbles that we didn't see at in the tent,
Yes.
and have such a wonderful conversation and get to know him a
Yeah,
little
what
bit
a
more.
lovely guy. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I love his teddy bear collection. All his pigs and then how his brother had
Hakuna
all the
Matata.
pigs.
Yes.
And
Very, very, very
no
good.
worries, right?
For the rest of your day,
Please.
it's our problem free.
I don't remember.
Well, I heard it every day. There you go. Hakuna
Hakuna
Matata.
Matata. I thought I made a promise that I was never going to sing on this show again, and you just got me to sing again. Sorry,
No,
everybody. Now,
it was
oh
Disney.
my goodness.
It was
People's
Disney
ears are
that got you
bleeding again.
singing. Not a surprise that Disney could get you singing. You did a lovely job, my friend. And on that note, no worries. Have
No
a
worries.
very, very good night tonight.
Hakuna Matata, my friend.
Hakuna Matata. Everybody, have a lovely day and happy
Happy
baking.
baking, everybody. Bye.